Hey Mike, what's up? I think there's a party going that Keith was in if you wanted to. Well, he jumped out of it. Alright, Wiser, you here? I'm not going to do this till you tell me you're ready. 117. We're going to stick with that. I'm going to have a little short par 3. Waiting on Wiser to give me the go ahead. He wants to see this bunker technique I use. Mike, what's up? Yeah, well, Keith was in here and he jumped over to play Battlefield. But Wiser's wanting me to show him how I do these bunkers that I've been doing lately. So um, I was waiting on him. I had to run away for a second, and I was waiting on him to come back and tell me he was ready. Because if I build it, he's not going to be there. He's going to come back and go, "What? Bunker's built." I think I'm going to do a little short par 3 here, 117-yard par 3. That means the last par 3 on this course is going to have to be of epic length. I did about 220 or something. Yeah. Or I could do another one like I did on uh, Savage Gulf. It was like 250. I got one like that on Fieldstone Farms too, but it's downhill. Well, Wiser hasn't responded yet. He probably went to the refrigerator. The surface. Gotta get rid of this tree that popped up. So Mike, I'm gonna have another hole that comes back down through here, back to the clubhouse. Actually, 18's gonna finish right there. What do you think about this cart path texture? Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm kind of hoping that before I'm done with this course, the update will be out and I can go with two different textures. I like the way it looked around the clubhouse. That's one that went with the color. You know, it. Yeah, 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 yep. But it's I don't know what. No, this whole um, I was working on the angle of the tee shot, right? So I was trying to figure out like, okay, if I go this way, what's here? But it's a par five, and so I wanted to get like a risky kind of tee shot here. And so if you hit this aggressive line between the bunker and the tree, your ball actually, unless you had a wind behind you, it'll land in this light rough and trickle into the fairway, right? But you got a good chance of hitting this tree or going in this bunker. But if you want to be extra safe, you could lay it back here, but then you're really not going to have a shot at the green. And then this green just epic bunkers. Yeah. So yeah, Wiser come in. He's like, I just finished this hole. And he's like, I want to see how you do these bunkers. And I was like, just too late. So I was hoping he would respond, but he was back in here and I was going to do them. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I always tell you that I like that arrowhead teardrop looking one. That's the one I use mostly. And then, I mean, because you can really smooth it. Yeah. Yeah, you can really smooth it. Yep. 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 Well, you got to step it down too, right? Okay. So if you do that flatten tool, sometimes it'll make that little hump drop off. Well, then you move the flatten tool over the fuzzy flatten tool over near that hump, and then it gives you kind of a preview of what it's going to do. And sometimes you have to raise or lower it just a little bit and hit it again, and then just keep stepping it down as you're going down, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Tell you right now, this tree's got to go. I was telling them I just can't. I try to keep shadows off the greens. I just can't. I don't like the shadows. For putting, it always makes me sick at my stomach when I'm trying to putt on a green with the trees blowing. Well, yeah. I don't know if Wiser's here, but I'm going to get started. Alright. So the first thing I got to do, the ones around the greens are the ones that turn out like this. The ones in the fairways, I do a little bit of that, but not as much. Because you don't want them as deep, right? First thing you got to do is build your green base. He's here. Cool. First thing you got to do is build your green base. And like what I do, I don't know if you do this, Mike, but I usually go back to a green I've already built and kind of size it appropriately, roughly to that size of a green, right? So then I go and figure out, okay, what angle do I want to do, whatever. So this green I'm going to probably be just a tad bit smaller. So I use the flatten tool and I usually raise it some, right? So now I got a base for the green, and I'm gonna drop this down in front of the base a little bit. Now I'll have to kind of reflatten that a little bit. It's important, I think, to get the base of the green and the green roughed in to get these bunkers right. All right, so then I just build a bunker or a green. I'm not too worried about, you know, I'm going to make a custom shape, but I'm not so concerned about how it, you know, how it looks really. I mean, if you just throw a few shapes together, you usually end up with a pretty decent green, you know. And a lot of times, like when I get my shape where I think it's right, okay, I'll just go find a random green that I did before and just lay that shape, and oh, that's pretty close to about the same size. But then I go back to my hole, lay this thing wherever I'm going to put my major bunkering, and I think I'm going to put a pretty significant bunker around this one. I try to lay this green where it's close to the edge of where the bunker's gonna go. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll show you in a minute. So now I do a little fairway fringe around it, and I've got to put some more shapes in it, or people will ridicule your greens. You know, it's the one shape green. I'm gonna do a. I'm gonna do something a little different on this one too. I got an idea here, and I don't ever plan any of this stuff out. It's kind of. I mean, sometimes I'll get a hole, like an idea for a hole, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try to do that. All right, so that's gonna be a pretty unique looking green, I think. I may cut some of that. I was thinking about putting a bunker in that notch right there. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, and it depends on where I put the flag, right? So I'm gonna have a lot of places to put a pin here on this green, and it's a little short hole. If you're over here, you're screwed. So okay, so here's the bunker, right? First thing you gotta do, pick your shape. The best shapes to make these cool bunkers are these new shapes, right? And so you gotta, to get it to do just right, you gotta get a little spacing between the green and the green and the edge of the bunker. You don't want it like right up here on it or right up here on it like this, because it'll never work out right. Because you're gonna fold that. What's up, Mayhem? You're gonna fold that green. I've been talked into giving a bunker tutorial by Wiser and Mike, so I'm gonna try to make one that looks halfway decent. All right, so you can see that already started a pretty decent shape right there the way it did. But here's the deal right here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my rough around it because this rough makes all the difference. I mean, it makes it look. I like those ones that are rough cut that people do, but if you, to me, to really see that it's gonna knock that tree out, but that's okay. No, it didn't knock it out. But that rough around it really, yeah, it makes it look. That bunker's almost built itself. But all right, so let me finish this rough, and then I'll show you the little trick I found, I guess you call it, to really make them have that look to them that I got on Strawberry Plains. All right, so here we go. You go the flattening tool. And I like this one. And what I do is I take it and I go to each of these little areas, right? And I overlap the ground. Don't get it inside the bunker. Overlap the ground and just flatten it. And it will drop it significantly. So then I go around to all of these. And then if you want a little more drop in these, you get this thing on the edge where 2 points come together and you hit it again and it'll drop those points. And don't worry about the holes and stuff it's making, because then what I do after I do all this is I get the soft fuzzy and I go back around it and kind of smooth it and make it not so dramatic.